And welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Gabe Farias and my wonderful co-host, Mr. Johnny Walker. I'm really excited about this opportunity, about doing this. I also like the fact that I'm the better looking of the two of us.
Is that what you think?
You didn't even hesitate. You had that loaded.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
You know, but here's the great thing about this. We're both San Antonio guys.
Yes,
we actually played
definitely.
high school football and baseball against each other in the day. You were a product of Holmes, and you ended up going to the University of Texas. I was a product of McCollum in the South Side. I ended up playing college football and college baseball at Kemper College in Boonville, Missouri. A lot of similarities, except you were just way better than I was.
I wouldn't say that. You know, I definitely enjoyed my time playing ball here in the city of San Antonio. It was a great city. We had great competition. We had some great high schools back at that time. And I can remember doing a little something against your McCollum Cowboys.
Beat us every time. Yeah, I'll tell you. In football and in baseball. And I got a funny story. We were playing high school baseball together. Yeah. And if you have any recollection of McCollum, we didn't have a fence. You hit a shot in right center field, and by the time our guy picked up the ball, you had crossed home plate. You were so fast. I hit the same exact shot. By the time the ball was already coming in, I was stumbling into third base in what can only be described as the most awkward slide maybe in the history of high school baseball. You played at UT. You ended up playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Green Bay Packers. You played AA baseball. Talk about your time playing at UT.
The time playing at UT was just an incredible experience. I think when I made the commitment to play at the University of Texas, originally deciding to play football and baseball, I think everybody thought I was crazy. So there's no way that you're going to be able to have the time or to be able to play both of them at the collegiate level. And I just was very blessed. It was something that I wanted to do. I was able to dedicate myself to do it, and it wasn't very easy. I can tell you that right now. I think now under the NCAA guidelines, you don't have the time to be able to put into it. So it took a lot of time, but it was great to be a part of two great programs, especially the baseball program under Coach Gus. I mean, it was a dynasty, and it was great to leave my niche there and be a part of that outstanding program.
And that's a great segue into our first topic, which is whether or not college athletes should be paid. Now, me going to Kemper College, a small junior college in Missouri, I'm probably not going to make minimum wage going out there. However, you played on the big stage. Obviously, there is a ton of money that goes into advertising, ticket sales. There's an argument to be made. You played in front of 1 million people at one time. Throughout the longevity of your career at UT, in these different stadiums, people were paying a premium to go watch these games. They were paying a premium based off of your performance as a student athlete. Should student athletes at the NCAA level get paid?
I can tell you I had a very unique situation while my days at the University of Texas. I got the great opportunity of getting drafted my junior year at the University of Texas in baseball, and I got the opportunity to be a professional athlete. So once I got the opportunity to get paid, I got a signing bonus. I was getting paid every month. I got paid for all the appearances that I made. I had a glove contract, a shoe contract. Once I got the opportunity to get paid, it was very difficult coming back to the University of Texas to play my last year of football and not getting paid anything. And I'm starting to realize the difference between the two. I was like, wait a minute. Here I am doing all these interviews at the University of Texas for the football program. I'm doing all these appearances. I'm not making anything for it. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. All the time that I put in practicing, everything is accounted for at the professional level. I got paid for everything that I did. So when I realized the amount of time that you're dedicating to college football and your craft, and you're not getting paid, and when I got the opportunity to get paid, I realized that this has got to change. There's something that has to be done to be able to acknowledge the fact that college athletes are, whether you want to believe it or not, are pretty much almost like professional athletes. I mean, as far as the time that you're putting into it, there's got to be some way to compensate them, and I think that the NCAA has finally started acknowledging that, and we're starting to see some changes.
In the beginning, initially, I thought, you're getting your education. You're getting it paid for. You're going to come out of this with a degree. My initial thought on this was, you're getting paid because you're getting a great education. It wasn't until about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, maybe longer, that I saw a young boy, a mom and a dad going to an A&M game, and they had a Johnny Manziel jersey on. A Texas A&M Johnny Manziel jersey. They're using his name. They're using his presence. They're using what he's doing to make money for that university to make money for themselves. Why can't a kid like Johnny Manziel, why can't a young man like Johnny Walker or Keith and Carrie Cash or anybody who comes out and is going to help universities make millions and in some cases billions of dollars, why shouldn't they get, not a cut of it because that sounds bad, but just get something to compensate them so they don't have the day-to-day struggles when they're in the classroom or at college?
I think so many people are misled on the outside looking in, thinking that you're getting an academic or getting an athletic scholarship that's including your education. The problem is that I don't think people realize the amount of money that's involved in college athletics and the amount of money,
it's tremendous.
And the amount of money that coaches are getting. Sure. For example, coaches are making $11-12 million a year. I think Texas A&M just signed their new head coach for a 10-year, $75 million
right.
guaranteed contract.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at the dollar figures, you're seeing the amount of money that universities are playing on facilities. I think at the University of Texas, my alma mater, they spend $10,000 per locker, to have these jazzy, fancy lockers that they put in. Yeah. So when you start seeing the kind of money that's being thrown around, you realize that it's a lot more than just academics. When I was there, and I realized that when it came to academics, don't get me wrong, I think coaches talked about it and discussed it, but let's be honest. I mean, they're getting paid to win.
Sure.
They're not getting paid whether you graduate or not. That has absolutely nothing to do with it. The reason why they're able to generate and garner the kind of contracts that they're getting is because of what they produce out on the field. And if if their players aren't producing, then they're not going to be able to make the money. So I think at some point they've got to close that gap. That has to be done, and people need to get out of the idea that it's just an academic. Hey, that's why we went to college. Yeah. We went to college to learn how to make ourselves better and to do the things we want to do. I'll give you an example. You brought up the Johnny Manziel situation. The whole time that I was at the University of Texas, I had the #1 selling jersey every single year. Every single year. I had the #1 selling jersey.
And how much of that did you get?
Not a penny.
Not a dime.
Couldn't even get my jersey. If I went to college and tried to go,
you had to pay for your own
jersey.
Wow.
So again, you start realizing the dynamics. You start realizing the amount of money that's being involved here, and how you're being so cut out of all of the opportunities to benefit yourself. I tell you, when I did the signing on signing day. So let me tell you something. I gotta tell you a little story. I gotta tell people a little story. On my signing day, I took a business law class at Holmes High School, and one of the most important things they told you to do in that class was to read your contract. So when I sat down, all the cameras on, everybody's laughing, smiling, I'm getting ready. I actually started reading my contract, and my contract said that I'm signing over my name and my likeness forever. That means I had no right to my name and likeness.
Really?
To be able to play college football, or college baseball, or any college athletic, you have to sign over your name and likeness to the NCAA. So they own your name and likeness forever. I'm going to tell you, after the cameras went off, I got up and left. I said, I refuse to sign this contract. I'm not going to sign it. I said, this is ridiculous. What sense does this make that I'm going to sign over my name and likeness? Now, I will say, thankfully, the NCAA, and because of the Ed O'Bannon antitrust lawsuit, and we'll get into that, now you have some right to your name and likeness. Now it's not forever. The NCAA has it for the time that you're playing at the university, but after that, you're able to get your name and your likeness, and you can sell it for profit. But the way it was back in the day, man, it wasn't like that.
And you had the luxury of doing that because you were, I believe back then they were called blue chip, gold chip.
Yeah, gold
now
chip, blue
now it's
chip,
4-star.
Right.
I was a potato chip. that was my grading when I was coming out of high school. But you had that luxury of knowing that you could take a stand. Your athleticism provided you with the leverage to do that. There's a lot of athletes that don't have that leverage. Do you think that some of the laws enacted for those protections were enough to protect those athletes?
Man,
or do you think that there still needs to be more done?
I think there's needs to be more done. Again, when you're having assistant coaches that are getting $2.5 million contracts, and please let people understand, they're guaranteed contracts. That means that whether they're there or they're not there, they're
if
still
Coach Fisher loses every game, he's still going to get
for
paid.
the next 10 years. He's making $7.5 million. So there needs to be more done, and I think that some of the things that have been implemented, I know that. For student athletes who have the opportunity to go to the Olympics, one of the things that they did for them is that they let them set aside a trust fund So all the money that they could have made or they've made will go into that trust fund,
Sure.
and then they can have access after they've completed their playing in college. After they've played in college, they have the opportunity to have access to that trust fund. I think that's something that would be beneficial. I think that's something that they need to do for college athletes. I think that would be an ideal situation. Now, upon your graduation, and I think that's the key point. I think you need to graduate. Once you graduate, then you'll have able to have access to those funds that they've set aside, and that gives you an opportunity once you get out of school, because not everybody's going to get the opportunity to play professionally. I mean, I was very blessed in the opportunity to be able to play them both professionally, which is, the odds of that are just phenomenal. And most college athletes are not going to get the opportunity to do that.
So you're saying it should be predicated on, because this point, I want you to clarify, because I don't necessarily agree with it.
Okay.
If you play for 4 years and you don't graduate and you get a job, but you've played 4 years for the Longhorns and you helped them make all this money, you're saying that money should not be made available to the athletes, or are you saying
I'm saying that
upon completion of eligibility?
I'm saying that it is on completion of graduation.
Really?
I think that, yes. Now keep in mind that institution is still paying for you to go to school. So after your eligibility is up, they're going to pay until you graduate. So I think that once you, and I think that's a fair price. I think that let's be honest. I mean, you're there. You are supposed to be there to be getting an education, and I think that every athlete who has the opportunity to get a scholarship, they need to get their degree. I mean, that's the reason why you went there. I said, don't get me wrong. There are some kids who got the opportunity to go play professionally,
exactly.
And I, like myself, once I played, I went back and I got my degree. And once I got my degree, then yes, I would be able to access to that trust fund. And I think that's one way to keep encouraging student athletes to pursue and get that degree.
You know what? As this show plays out, I think we're going to be on the same page on a lot of different topics. This is one that we're not, my friend. We are going to officially have our first agree to disagree.
Well, why do you feel like they should have access to that?
I think if a kid goes out there and if he helps contribute to help make that university money on and off the field via the Walker jerseys, via the Manziel jerseys, they should get compensated in some form or fashion.
And they will. But they have access to it once they graduate, because that's the reason why they went there.
But what if they don't graduate?
They're going to graduate.
Really?
That's your incentive to graduate. To know that if I graduate, I got $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 sitting there waiting for me. That's a great opportunity for me to make sure that I get that degree, and I think that's important.
So our first agree to disagree. Good job. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be addressing high school recruiting here in the state of Texas. Coming up next on Inside the Locker Room.
One in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Nothing to do this week? Don't miss another event. Go to blacksinsanantonio.com for our event calendar. The home of the largest business directory in San Antonio with an African-American focus. Sign up today for our weekly e-blast and text message alerts. Help us make this a better community. Connect, empower, grow.
And welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Gabe Farias and my friend Johnny Walker, talking sports, talking candid topics. This week, we're talking about high school recruiting. And when I talk high school recruiting, we're talking about when you were a bright-eyed young 17 and 18, really 16, 17 and 18-year-old. You were a gold chip recruit?
Gold chip, yes.
You were a gold chip recruit, what I guess now would be considered to be a 4-star?
5-star.
A 5-star recruit. You were recruited by everybody. You had your choice of schools. First, talk about that process.
Man, that was going to the mailbox, because back then, we didn't have the internet and all the Facebook and all that.
I was a terrible athlete, and I had a lot of mail.
No, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I can only imagine.
It was fun going to the mailbox and just getting all the mail that was coming out, and it was crazy. And I got so much mail from so many different people. The recruiting process was incredible. There were so many people that were involved in it. I mean, I got letters from little kids who were trying to convince me to go to their university.
Wow.
So it was an incredible experience. I got letters from professional athletes. I think the most candid one was I got a phone call from Jim McMahon, who
To go to BYU?
to go to BYU.
Really?
And he offered to let me go play golf with him. That's between me and you.
Wow.
But it was an incredible experience. Needless to say, all the things that were involved, you can only imagine how it could be for an 18, 19-year-old and getting the kind of attention that you're getting at that stage in your life, and trying to make sure that you make the right choice.
Sure.
Make the right choice, because this is what's going to happen for your future.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun, a lot of attention, but a lot of times it was also very cumbersome, and there were some things that I disliked about it as well.
You're talking 4, 5, maybe 6 years following the SMU death penalty debacle that killed that program, which was centered around recruiting, illegal recruiting, giving cars, getting paid, that type of thing. You are, without a doubt, one of the most integrity-driven men that I know and that I work with and that I deal with. You said across the board, I didn't do anything, but I'm guessing there were times when things were offered.
Oh, God.
Opportunities were there. Talk about some of those without going into detail.
I was offered money. One of the schools offered me $20,000 cash. I was offered cars, opportunity to get a car. I think more importantly, I had opportunities from my parents, especially to get jobs. There were jobs that were offered. And it's funny. I was very, very wanting to make sure that I didn't do anything that was going to bring any embarrassment to myself and to my family.
Sure.
First of all. And I didn't want to have anything to stop me from ruining my opportunities to go play in college and at some point professionally. But looking back, what I know now, I would have probably accepted one of the offers that I would have gotten. And the reason why I say that is because when I actually got the opportunity to play and being a part of everything, you realize that it's every man for himself. You realize that college is doing everything they can to use you to benefit themselves. And you're the one who's getting the tail end of it. I don't think there's a fair trade-off. And if I had the opportunity again, I probably would have made some different decisions, knowing what I know now, and the whole dynamics of playing college ball.
This kind of goes back to our last topic on the NCAA not paying athletes.
Right.
Don't you think, I'm going to give you a chance right now to take back what you said earlier.
Right.
Because what you basically said now, Senior Walker, is that looking back, you would have taken something to help with whatever, whether it's bills,
family, of course.
knowing full well that you were going to provide an avenue for these universities and the NCAA to make money.
Yes.
Okay.
Off of me, yes.
Don't you think that going back to the last topic, there should be something in place that would prevent that caveat from happening, that allows athletes of your caliber, of the fact that you're going to help make money for the university, an opportunity to get compensated?
While they're there?
While they're there.
Well, they are now. They get stipends now. The NCAA has, I think you can make up to get up to 5,000 in stipends, which I think it should be more than that.
5,000 though, man.
Yeah,
if you sell 10,000 Johnny Walker jerseys, man.
That's true. Yeah, trust me, the trade-off is not fair, but it is a lot better than not making anything. Yeah. So I say up to 5,000. I think it's up to the discretion of the institution as to how much of a stipend they give them.
Sure.
Now, I think it should be a culmination of a stipend and that trust fund that we're setting aside, and they can collectively come up with a way to figure out how much goes into that trust fund. $10,000-$15,000 every year goes into that trust fund that you don't touch until you actually graduate.
Yeah.
And I think that will help with some of the things that go on before you actually sign your letter of intent. Because trust me, I don't care what anybody says. Listen to what I'm telling you. There are a lot of illegal things that are going on. And there's still to this day, there are a lot of illegal things that are going on in regards to players, what they're getting, what their families are getting, to be able to get them to go to that institution.
I got offered unlimited chicken biscuits when I went to my. That was the intent. That was the extent of my.
Well, it depends on where the biscuits were from.
It was Hardee's.
It was Hardee's? I might would have passed on that one too.
All right, great topic. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to be discussing whether or not King James is serious about the opportunity to come to San Antonio and play for the Spurs. Coming up next on Inside the Locker Room.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at SaveTheFood.com.
Observe a domesticated human family in their natural habitat, known to their species as the backyard.
Hey, you think I should light it now?
I think it's good.
Yeah?
Oh dear, someone is about to burn a pile of debris that's too tall, which can start a wildfire. Wait, could it be? Blimey, it is.
It's Smokey.
It's Smokey Bear. What a legend.
Hey, it's Smokey. Sorry, it was too high. Right.
Watch as he astutely ensures that there's no wind, and how he removes some of the debris to create a smaller, safer burning pile.
No, you said make it bigger, baby. The bigger, the better.
Take note of our fearless furry friend here, humans.
I appreciate it. Fist bump.
Watching you.
Smokey's done it again.
Bye, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hello, my friends. This is the Reverend Dr. Jerry William Daly, proud pastor of the Macedonia Baptist Church. This year, I invite you to come and join us February 24th for the 2018 Clergy Hall of Fame. It will be held at the Antioch Sports Complex. I'm excited about it being a 2015 inductee. Would you join me as we honor two godly men? Reverend Dr. Randa Drape of Maranatha Christian Church, renowned Reverend Dr. Reuben R. Shield, who pastored Friendship Baptist Church for so many years. On this special day, we will come together, local clergy, we'll fellowship, we're going to break bread, and take a few photos. Won't you tell a friend, bring a friend. I can't wait to see you there. Be blessed, Pastor D. Be blessed, Pastor D.
And welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Gabe Farias and my friend Johnny Walker, talking sports, talking topics of the day. LeBron James,
The king.
easily the most prized NBA free agent ever. Even when MJ was done playing, I don't think, and he really wasn't a free agent. He was a retiree who ended up going to the Bullets, which I think was, or the Wizards, right? Was it Washington?
Yeah.
Crazy. King James has an opportunity and is looking at different scenarios for which he could continue his stellar NBA career. One of those teams is the San Antonio Spurs. His affection for Greg Popovich is obviously there. Kawhi Leonard is a huge upside. LaMarcus Aldridge and his resurgence back into renaissance, if you will, back into the prominence of NBA basketball. There are a lot of positives. Do you think that it's a real opportunity for San Antonio to land LeBron James?
You know what? When we talk about this, I think everybody thinks you're crazy when they think LeBron James, San Antonio. I said, but I tell you what, LeBron James has tremendous respect, like a lot of the other players in the league, for Craig Popovich. I mean, there's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't. He's shown you time in and time again with the success that the San Antonio Spurs have had.
Yeah.
Great organization from top to bottom. You see all the teams that are picking different individuals from the Spurs organization. I can see that happening. I really can. I think that LeBron James comes across as a very family-oriented. He spends a lot of time with his family. He's very concerned about what the surroundings are going to be for his family. San Antonio is an ideal place. It's very family-oriented. It's an ideal place for him to be. But more importantly, they've got a great product on the basketball court. They really do. I mean, with Kawhi Leonard, hopefully we can work out the differences that, you know, the rumblings that we've heard about Kawhi Leonard. But you've got a great franchise here. It's respected, great coach. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't want to come to San Antonio and play a couple of years here in San Antonio.
I want to dissect what I think is the most recruitable facet to him coming to San Antonio, and that's Greg Popovich. You're a former professional athlete, played for the Steelers, played for the Packers, played AA baseball. You know the type of coach that Greg Popovich. You would have been a star on any team you play at UT, but he's going to hold you accountable as the last guy on the bench. Do you think that that's something that's appealing to a guy like LeBron James, playing for a guy that knows is going to keep holistically everybody accountable?
I don't think LeBron James is going to have any problem with that. I mean, I think that's the way he plays. I mean, if you look at
because there's some athletes that I don't think
they have a hard time dealing with that. They do. I think he has so much respect for Craig Popovich. I think LeBron James, he's a winner. And he knows that Craig Popovich is a winner. And he knows that he's going to believe in Craig Popovich and whatever he's putting out on the table. He's going to believe in that because he's seen the end results. We've all seen the end results of that. Nobody, you know, it's like San Antonio Spurs. Yeah, but you know what? They keep winning championships. They keep having 60-win seasons. So there's something that's going right in the San Antonio Spurs organization, and it starts with Craig Popovich. And I think there's no reason why LeBron James wouldn't love to play with Coach Popovich. I think he's even mentioned it many times about the idea or the opportunity to play under Coach Popovich and playing with the San Antonio Spurs.
Do you think that is singularly the biggest facet, not the program or the franchise holistically, but just the opportunity to play for what he deems as the greatest NBA coach of all time? Do you think that is the singular, our biggest opportunity to land?
I believe so. And I think that LeBron, especially as his career continues on, I think he's always, wherever he's been, he's had all the pressure on him. We don't even talk about the coaches that he's had. I mean, Tyronn Lue. I mean, we didn't even talk about some of the coaches that LeBron has played for. I think that he's at a stage where, hey, you know what? Let the head coach deal with all that. I don't want to have to deal with all that. Let me just play basketball. And I think that'd be an ideal situation for him because he's pretty much had to carry all the teams that he's been on. The first time he was at Cleveland, the Miami Heat, now Cleveland, his second return here in Cleveland, he's pretty much had to carry the whole load. I mean, he's been the coach, the player, personnel, he's been the top basketball. I mean, he's had to do everything. When he comes to a first-class organization like the San Antonio Spurs, he didn't have to worry about that. All we need you to do out there is go be the king out on the basketball court, and I think he would love to do that.
So what you're saying is that, yes, Popovich is singularly the biggest reason, but it's not the reason. You're saying that there's some allure to going to a franchise and knowing I just have to play basketball.
That's it. I don't have to worry about anything else. Popovich has no problems taking account for anything that goes on with the Spurs. He's definitely going to speak his mind, so you don't have to worry about that. I think he's going to take care of everything, and I think and I can just tell you, especially this last year that he's gone through a lot. LeBron has with Cleveland and the success thereof or lack thereof success with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I think it'll be great for him, a relief for him to be able to be in a top flight organization. You don't have to worry about owners. You don't have to worry about the coach. You don't have to worry about personnel. Everything's in place. All I got to do is go be the king and play basketball. And I think he would love to have that opportunity.
Absolutely. And it's one thing about Coach Popovich. If it's one thing about Greg Popovich, it's the fact that you see this gruff guy on the surface, and you see him yelling at his players, and you see him being mean to sideline reporters. Everybody that I talk to that actually knows him, whether it's reporters, whether it's guys within the organization, say he's one of the kindest gentlemen they've ever had a chance to deal with or play for or be under. But in addition to that, he takes care of his players.
He does.
More than any other coach in the NBA. From, if you don't like the intro music to that we're playing, we're going to change it. This is a player-driven league, and he knows that. He's going to hold those players accountable, but he knows and understands that he has got to, at the core, take care of each and every player on that team, and that has to be huge.
One of the things that I admire of Coach Popovich is the fact that he doesn't back away from a lot of the social issues that athletes have to deal with. And that, to me, as a player, means more to me than anything else that he could ever say. I mean, there's been some very controversial issues that have come along, whether it's been the president that we have now, or some of the other issues, Colin Kaepernick taking a knee during the national anthem. He's not backed away from any of those issues, and he has always addressed it in a professional way, but also in a way that he had the respect that he had for his players. And I think as a player, knowing knowing I would love to play with someone that I know has got my back.
Sure.
Know that he is not afraid to say whatever it is that needs to be said, and he's going to say it, and he doesn't care what anybody else has to say. That would be a great situation to be in, and I would love to play with a coach like that.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, especially on the social issues, because you got a lot of folks out there that don't agree with that they say stick to basketball, stick to coaching, don't worry about the president, don't worry about some of the social issues that are out there. Me personally, I think this is one we're going to agree strongly on. I like the fact that he's using his voice to use it as the conduit to display a message that he feels is right and provides justice for those that needs or is lacking that particular justice. Do you like that as a coach, a leader, a guy who's on the national scale, really diving into those issues?
I like that as a coach, and I like that as a player.
Yeah.
I think there's an obligation that we have as players to be able to address those social issues. I dislike, and I always had a problem with players who felt that that doesn't concern me. That's not something that I need to care about. No. It is our responsibility as players to be able to stand up for what's right and what's wrong. And I think that if we had people that were like that back then, we're talking about your Jim Browns, you're talking about your Muhammad Ali's, you're talking about your Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's, we would never be able to be in the situation that we are now. So I think that players, Jackie Robinson, yes, there's so many who set the tone, who set the standard, who took all the hits so that we will be able to have the opportunity to have the success we have now. So I tell young athletes, I tell athletes that I played with, yes, it is our responsibility to stand up and fight for what's right, and not be concerned about what the aftermath is going to be. Because if we all stick together, it's more important for the message and what comes out of that message to be able to continue going on.
We're running out of time, so right quick, there's obviously no magic ball that we have here on whether or not he's going to sign.
Right.
What do you think the odds are of him signing, LeBron James signing with San Antonio?
Man, we got to put numbers to it. Wow. I'm going to say, because I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan, and because I am a huge Craig Popovich fan, I think that we got a 50% chance of getting him. Yeah, I really do. I really do, because I think, again, like I said, I think LeBron has really been ran through the ringer the past couple of years. I mean, he's had to carry the load of the teams that he's been on, and I think for him, it would be a breath of fresh air to be able to come into a situation where he didn't have to worry about those things.
Yeah.
Popovich is not going anywhere. You don't have to worry about any of your personnel going anywhere. Don't have to worry about any problems from your owner. Everything's taken care of. Now let's just go play basketball. And I think he'll love to be able to have that opportunity.
This is an almost agree. I'm going to say it's about a 25%. I think
25.
I think we got a quarter shot that he's going to come to San Antonio. He loves the city. He loves Greg Popovich. He loves the opportunity to play with Kawhi Leonard, partner with LaMarcus Aldridge, and create something really special here in San Antonio. So I guess it's an agree to disagree, but I guess we kind of agreed on that.
Okay.
All right, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of Inside the Locker Room. I'm Gabe Farias.
And I'm Johnny Walker. And make sure you join us for the next episode on Inside the Locker Room.
Folks, we'll see you on the field.